What's going on, everybody? Today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going over what the top 10 guns are in Borderlands 1. And the main criteria I'm going to use is just overall effectiveness. So guns that work good against mobs, against bosses, and all of that, they're going to get weighed higher than guns that are just good against mobs. I do also want to take in consideration hybrids, and so what I'll do to keep it fair is if I do include a hybrid, I'm not going to include its counterparts. Like if I use the Bone Shredder and the Savior, I wouldn't include the Bone Shredder by itself or the Savior by itself. You see what I mean? But with that being said, let's go ahead and get into it. So here is the top 10 guns in Borderlands 1, and you can't argue it's true. This is just facts. All this is facts. Number 10. The Plague, or the Crux. So the thing with the Plague is it's a corrosive shotgun, which corrosive in this game just eats regardless, because it gets a similar effect to Slag from Borderlands 2, where with this game, corrosion causes a 15% damage bonus to any subsequent damage after it, and it has a chance to spread to nearby enemies. So what you find with this gun is with a tighter pellet spread, you're hitting all your pellets and doing more damage in general, but then damage is spreading to the nearby enemies. So then all you gotta do is just turn to the enemies it spreads to, hit them with a few pellets, and then they're dead too. Because with corrosion damage in Borderlands 1, the element can stack. So with each pellet, you're just stacking the corrosive damage and just multiplying how quickly people are dying. So what you find is you just end up melting them with every single shot that lands. And I do want to be specific here. Whenever I say the Crux is top 10, I'm talking about the Plague. So not the explosive shotgun Crux, I'm talking about the corrosive shotgun Crux. Number 9, the Serpens. The Serpens, or the Serpens, however you say it, is kind of in a similar boat to the Crux, to where its main attribute that makes it so good is just the corrosive damage. But what you find is this thing has wavy bullets, so it makes it hard to hit. But when you do, the damage is outstanding, and then the corrosive damage just eats them away, just like the Crux. And another thing that this gun has going for it is it's an AR, so it's going to be more well-rounded, because Borderlands 1 ARs just are well-rounded. You're getting better fire rate, better ammo capacity, better damage overall in these things. So then what you find is just because it's getting bonuses from every direction, it is one of the best guns in the game. Because you're getting a damage bonus for it just being a Pearl, you're getting a corrosion damage bonus, and you're getting the overall well-roundedness of a massive magazine, good fire rate, and higher overall damage from an AR. So with all that, it just ends up being one of the best guns in the game. And I have it at number 9. Maybe it would be higher if it didn't have the stupid wavy bullet pattern, because it's kind of hard to hit at times, but overall it is still very good even with that. Number 8, the good old Bessie. So what makes the Bessie so good is you're getting an insanely high base damage, but you're also getting 500% crit bonus on top of it. But of course, Gearbox did have to nerf it, because without a slow fire rate it would be overpowered, so it's got a slow fire rate, and it is definitely just a slower weapon overall. But at the same time, you know, a shotgun in real life is still a very good weapon because it hits so hard. That's kind of how this is. In the video, you can see me hitting one shots to the head and enemies are just exploding. That is an overall experience with the Bessie. That just happens every single time you shoot somebody. But the main reason why this does end up on the list anyway is it is one of the best weapons against Cromrax the Invincible, just because of how much damage it does to his crit spots. And this is probably the number 1 weapon at killing Crawl, just because of how much raw damage it does on a crit. But I will say, if this thing had the speed of a Surkov, this thing would probably be number 1. It just gets so slowed down by how punishing it is to miss a shot. And that's not to say that it's as slow as the Buffalo is from Borderlands 2, because it's certainly not. But the slowness definitely does hinder it quite a bit. Number 7, the Orion. The Orion is definitely a fun gun to use, because it's a lot like the Fibber from Borderlands 2, to where if you shoot the ground, it's going to split into multiple pellets. But what makes this weapon so special is the base damage is so high already that you don't even need to use the split pellet feature for it to have effect. Because the straight damage is going to kill him anyway. You don't need to use the split effect unless you're fighting Cromrax trying to hit his back in the ledge glitch. which kind of earned its spot on the list, is just because it's definitely amazing against mobs, but it's more effective against Cromrax with the fact that it can hit his back when he's not looking at you. Matter of fact, this gun is probably the Cromrax backshot king, and I have to give it a spot on the list just because of that. But then it's also capable of one-shotting almost every mob enemy besides badasses, which you still probably can. So it just earns its spot on the list regardless. Number 6, the Hellfire. So I'll be honest, the Hellfire holds a very, very sincere spot in my heart. I think this was the first legendary I ever got. Matter of fact, I remember my first time getting the Hellfire, and it was just my favorite gun from the moment I got it. This thing does so much damage just because, as I said earlier, the way elements work in this game is they stack over time. So the more I shoot somebody, the more the fire dot just stacks and stacks, and they just die faster and faster. And with a good parted one, you're getting over a 10 fire rate, so you're shooting non-stop, stacking non-stop, just killing enemies super, super quick. I mean, let's be real. There's a reason why it's been brought back in every single Borderlands game that has ever been. I mean, I don't know about Borderlands 4. I hope it's in there just because, I've never played Borderlands 4. So I'm assuming it's going to be in there just because it's an icon of the Borderlands series. But yeah. Number 5, the Defiler. So what makes this gun so good is pretty much the same thing that all of these corrosion guns that have been on the list have going for them. Is this has a very, very high base damage to go alongside the corrosive damage. This is the best gun to use against General Knox so long as you have a build for it. Matter of fact, Knox, the Lance, anything that's weak to armor, this is probably the best gun for them. Just because of the 15% damage bonus you get when you apply corrosive to an enemy, plus the 1,000 damage you get if you get a well parted out Defiler. And it's not too uncommon to see it take only 1 or 2 shots to take down even a badass enemy just like it did in the video. I mean, yeah, I'll just keep it simple at that. This gun is able to take down mobs in 1 to 2 shots, and it's probably the best at taking down one of the harder bosses in the game. I mean, that puts it on the list for me. Number 4, the Nemesis. Well, specifically the Nemesis Invader. What works so well about the Nemesis Invader, despite the fact that it's combining a pearlescent and a legendary, with the Invader dumping the mag on a trigger pull, the Nemesis's ability is the corrosive and shock damage. So the enemy's not going to be able to escape. Like a shock skeg's still going to die to this weapon just because it has the chance to spawn corrosive pellets. And it's a chance, so it's up to 4 pellets extra, but with Mordecai's gun crazy skill, he can have up to 10 pellets out of this gun. And of course this weapon just thrives in every regard, but when you're using it against shielded, armored enemies, this thing just shows out. Because it's going to destroy the shield with the shock damage, and then the corrosive damage is getting a buff against the armor, so then it just destroys their health bar as well. And another bonus of the Invader's scope that's a lot lesser known is it allows for a lot less recoil, so you're going to find you're actually hitting every shot when you shoot this. And of course, rarity isn't affecting the grade at all, but this is also just the most rare weapon in the game, actually in the whole series, and it's unfortunate just because of how good it is. I think a lot more people should get the chance to use this gun. Number 3, the Double Anarchy. So it's funny that this gun is as good as it is because it's not even a unique or anything. This is a gun that you're randomly going to find on the ground in the middle of your playthrough and not even realize it's as good as it is unless you know about it. And what makes the Double Anarchy so good is the fact that it's shooting 4 bullets for 1 trigger pull. So all in all, it ends up doing at endgame about 600 damage per shot so long as you land all 4 bullets. It has the fire rate of upwards of 12.5, so you're shooting super, super quick, dealing 600 damage a shot. Yeah, it's gonna melt. And of course, unlike the Nemesis Invader, this thing's actually very common. It's just a lot of people don't realize how good it is just because of the fact that it is a non-unique. Number 2, the Unforgiven. The Unforgiven is a little bit more of a rare legendary, but it definitely should be. It gets an incredibly high base damage as well as it gets a 200% crit bonus. So what ends up happening is it's like the Bessie in the sense to where it can just one-shot most mob enemies and then still have a lot of effectiveness against bosses. But then you get the Masher variant to where you still get the increased base damage, but then you get the 7x multiplier of 7 pellets, and it just gets insane. Each pellet is still going to get 200% crit bonus, so then you end up just dealing a shit ton of damage from it. And the other thing that makes this thing so good is that if you get a melee blade on it, the melee blade also gets 200% crit damage from it. So what you find is that everyone can use it because it does so much damage and it works in so many different ways. It's just unfortunate that it's as rare as it is, but with how much damage it deals, it has to be rare. And then the best gun in the game, at number 1, the Ajax Ogre. What makes this thing so good is you're getting plus 55% damage from the Ajax part, and you're getting the 4 times explosiveness from the Ogre part, and you're getting the improved accuracy of the Ajax spear while also getting just the brute damage and explosiveness out of the Ogre. And this thing absolutely excels when you have a Blastmaster brick build, because as you can see in this gameplay, the enemies just disappear upon me seeing them. The only unfortunate part about this weapon is just how much of a pain in the ass it is to farm, because you've got to go spawn in T-Bone Junction and then travel through 3 or 4 maps, which takes about 5 minutes on average, if not more. And for whatever reason, Gearbox decided that you're not allowed to spawn in specific maps. You have to spawn in the starting map of every DLC in this game. So you have to start every single run in T-Bone Junction for some reason. But I guess at the end of the day, for a gun this powerful, you gotta earn it, so I guess it makes sense. But yeah, that was the top 10 guns in Borderlands 1 in my opinion. And of course, this is all subjective, and that's the best part, is I already figure there's probably going to be people in the comment section saying that I missed a gun or different guns should have been in different places. I don't know. But let me know what you think. Even if you are disagreeing, let me know. I'd love to hear from you. But I appreciate you sticking throughout the whole video. I appreciate you for watching, and hopefully, I'll see you next time.